see me rolling, they hating, patrolling, they're gonna be riding dirty. Try to get me riding dirty.
Do you have a song that you were into as a kid? I know your music taste. I'm not sure what one I could think of, but do you have a song that you're like, wow, that was the actual meaning of that song and the age at which I was into it is not fitting.
Yeah. I don't know that I can name one, but yeah, that's good questions. I think a lot of like the old '90s country songs when they're like down by the river on a Friday night. Like, I was willing and she was right.
I just heard that lyric.
Right, and so I'm like, yeah, I didn't know what that meant at 8 years old. Like, okay, willing to do what?
So I settled for a burger and a grape snow cone.
And gosh, if
you're a kid, like, what do you mean settled?
Right, if you made me opt out of the first one, and I don't think I'd be settling for a burger and a grape snow cone. Expectations are higher in my old age.
Yeah.
Although if the burger's from the right place, I'll be honest.
The right place.
Gosh. I make a pretty good smash burger, too.
That's true. Have experienced your smash burger.
And I learned that from my friend Casey. Thanks, Casey.
Shouts out to Casey.
Yeah.
Big fan of the podcast.
He doesn't get a lot of love.
We don't talk about him nearly enough on the podcast.
I agree.
We're going to give him a segment from here on out.
That'll be the game changer
Why
segment.
are we thankful
that's
for
it.
Casey?
It's for Casey. Yeah, we got to do it. It's a teaser for something up and coming, y'all.
Be on the lookout. Well, hi. Hi, you. Hi, everybody.
Oh, they're here?
Springtime.
They were here
Everybody's
the whole time?
here. They've been here the whole time.
Jeez.
Real quick before we start, one more. I need your thoughts on these torpedo bats in Major League Baseball. Baseball started. What do you think?
Love it.
I
love it. Who cares? There's nothing wrong with them. It's with the fact that they're just coming out now. Like we just had the technology.
100%.
Yeah.
100% my thought.
Right. There's always changes in the game. There's upgrades. Like when we went to like having a leather mitt that wasn't just a glove that went on your hand, then they had some webbing in it, and like some are longer, so you can catch a baseball that's farther away from you. Like that's technology changes, man.
It's for me the why did it take this long to like put the wood from the bat in the part where you hit the ball.
Yeah.
Nobody was...
But it's fine. Like, there's I thought there were just rules about it. And then it turns out there weren't necessarily rules about it. And you get to pick. And then what kills me is people being upset about it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe they're doing that. They're changing
it. Right.
Well, then you could have changed. You're just mad because you didn't change the game yourself.
Right.
Also, let's not forget the fact that the Yankees are buying... They're buying everything. They buy every expensive toy, and like turns out you can win sometimes with that.
There's something I love about holding it till the start of the regular season. Like all spring training, it's like everybody's talking about all these other things, and then all of a sudden, wow, boy, they seem to be hitting a lot more home runs than the other guys. And it's like, ta-da! Like maybe the only note I have is maybe you should have saved it till the playoffs. Because now everybody's got them.
No, then they've been... No. Then you get an asterisk and... No, you don't save it.
I want to surprise... Maybe to like one specific at-bat. You have the torpedo bat in like a glass case in the dugout. And... Because the second they did... Now all the teams have them. Or they're in the process of getting them. But if you had one that was like in case of emergency, and it's like the bottom of the ninth against the Dodgers, who no one's going to beat all year. But it'll be fun for us all to play for second.
Yeah. Welcome back to the baseball podcast.
We'll start that one soon too. No, actually we won't. That'll be a lot of work.
There's plenty of people who are doing more expert-based
Yeah. It would
stuff.
be very unlike us to do a whole podcast on something we're not an expert in. Which brings us to today. Welcome to Cheat Day Devos with Tim and Anthony. We are continuing to go through Exodus, and it's a great place to start to say we are not Bible experts. We are not Bible midperts. We don't know much. Like, you're not expert. You're not even a mid-pert. Welcome to the perd. What's the word, perd? We don't know much about what we're talking about today as far as, like, the search for meaning or life or purpose and stuff like that. But we do like to read the Bible together and talk about it with you.
That sounds so sweet of us.
We
read the Bible together.
We just love.
This is our morning devos.
We just love it.
We don't. We do this at our separate homes.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, but then we also read it together here. If you've missed anything from Exodus or you missed the book of Genesis, you can go back and check those out, of course. Also, before we get started, I know we did a lot before we got started, but I want to remind you, Compassion International, Compassion/Bible is Funny is where you can support a child from Brazil that we are doing this year. We last podcast shouted out our friend Emily, who sponsors someone. Shouts out to Emily. So go on there, check it out. It's a very cool thing that they're doing. Check out Compassion. See what they're doing. They're doing great work all over, and we're pumped to partner with them this year. Now let's do the book of Exodus, starting in chapter 13.
And if you don't like it, you can exit this.
Yeah. It's not.
I hate to threaten our listeners like that, but
that is the only exit. So if you do need to leave for the restroom or something, it's that way.
Just down the hall.
Yeah, you want to go that way. That's the front of my house. Exodus 13. Again, you know how these stories go. If you need to get caught up, go back and listen to some of the other ones. Verse 1, the Lord said to Moses, consecrate to me every firstborn male, the first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether human or animal.
Yes. And for those of you who aren't familiar with biblical terms, that's why I read the Message version.
Oh,
it says, please. Set apart every firstborn to me. It's to consecrate. It's to set apart.
Yeah.
The first one to come from the womb among the Israelites, whether person or animal, is mine. That's what God said.
There you go. I always want to put an N in concentrate.
Concentrate.
Verse 3, then Moses said to the people, commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. That's kind of a funny run there as I read it aloud, just because you're like, it's like, hey, it's your birthday. Every year we're going to celebrate this birthday by eating nothing that tastes good. So that you remember you were born. Oh, okay. Today, in the month of Aviv, you are leaving.
Aviv, by the way, I hate to make people learn stuff, but Aviv is like the month of like roughly March or April. Based on the 4 seconds of research I did. But you don't have to. I just saved you.
It's also, I love when they do words like this because it's like Aviv leaving. I can connect those two. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you are to observe this ceremony in this month. The concept of honey flowing has always been a...
Well, and at first, like, you hear this as a... this is great. What a beautiful, wonderful place. Literally, if a place has milk and honey flowing in it, can you imagine the bugs? Just the stickiness.
It's all bugs.
Like, if the rivers are milk and honey, like a mixture, like maybe it tastes good, but it's also going to be room temp at best.
There's also a ton of our diet that's missing. Like, those are two things. I consume probably a bit of that every day.
And if there's so much honey, there are a lot of bees.
A lot of bees.
And I'm friendly with bees, but I've also, as we've talked about on the podcast, I've experienced my own little, bee apocalypse at the house.
Yeah,
where
same.
The front door is just, you too, have been just covered in bees. And I don't want that. They didn't even produce so much honey that it flowed.
Yeah.
So that would be 50,000 times as many of those bees. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of bees. It just doesn't sound that magical to me.
Bees are there's so many of them, and they're very loud. And like you said, in your mind, like you've seen probably like these beekeepers, they don't even wear stuff once they're like really good at it. They just go in there and kind of do what they need to do.
Well, it depends on the hive too. They have personalities.
So you're like, in your head, you're like, I know they're not gonna hurt me. Anyway, land flowing with milk and honey meant a lot to them, I'm sure, and I'm happy for that. To me, I'm like, if you're selling me on like a resort or something, I'm gonna need more detail.
Yeah,
like that's great that they have that.
Spare the milk. Maybe.
I might need that. I'm probably gonna do oat milk because my tum, but you get it. You are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days, eat bread made without yeast, and on the 7th day, hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing with yeast in it is to be seen among you. I do love that this keeps like. If you say the word yeast, If you say yesterday, which technically contains the letters of yeast, it's like we're really down the road on this. Which direction are we heading? It's the opposite of west, but I don't want to say it because I know what you're going to do. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing with yeast in is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. On that day, tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt.
It sounds like I do this because this is what happened to me. Like it's like dad getting ready to punish his kid, and he's like, this is what my daddy did to me when I was 11. It's going to hurt me a lot more than it hurts you.
He does read like that.
Yeah, like, okay, why are we doing this to ourselves?
I do this.
Because this is what the Lord did to us.
I do this. Yeah, anytime.
And why did they have Southern accents? I don't know.
We don't know they didn't.
Exactly.
This observance will be for you like a sign to your hand and a reminder to your forehead that this law of the Lord is to be on your lips. I like those two options as reminders. We've all needed to remember something and we jotted it on our hand. But if you're a person who does that and then forgets, you have the forehead option. So that you're going to run into somebody who's going to be like, why did you write creamer on your forehead? And you're like, oh, I got to get some on the way home.
Right. Because I was going to forget if I wrote it down a note and put it in my pocket.
Down here, I could have not looked. But if everybody else is to look at the word creamer on my forehead,
then they're going to ask me.
It's going to ask questions. That's a little tip for you at home. If you're trying to remember something, write it in big letters on your forehead. That this law of the Lord is to be on your lips, for the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time, year after year. The appointed time being the month of Aviv.
Or Abib is also another spelling of it.
Abib is...
Again, I hate to let people like force you to learn things, but I learned it. I did. I passed it along.
Abib is also what you call like a Justin Bieber fan by themselves.
Mm. Were you pausing for other people's laughter?
Just letting them catch their breath.
Didn't know.
After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you as he promised an oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey. But okay.
Don't worry. I got a little breakdown here.
Okay. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. Yeah.
So, okay. We have to kind of break down this process a little bit because I am still a little bit kind of confused by it. So giving them over to God. So to redeem somebody. Sorry. So God said, hey, you got to give these over to me.
Consecrate.
Great. I want to know what that looked like. Because, hear me out. You either give it to God or you break its neck. So like when you give it over to God, was there like a pen? Was there like a farm somewhere that you're like, here, God, it's yours now.
Right.
My thought was this whole time it's like a sacrifice. And somebody tell me. Because I thought like giving over to God would be to sacrifice it. But then they're like, well, if you don't then that would read literally, if you don't sacrifice it to God, then just break its neck. And that seems like it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same.
It would be
thing.
the same, yeah.
So I don't know, but the redeeming part is literally, it's like in this sense it was, we know the actual term, but you're substituting you're one for another.
Right.
And there's obviously a deeper spiritual meaning of that in the New Testament, which we are not here to learn about, folks.
Because we're not there yet.
Stop learning.
Give us a couple of months and we'll get to the New Testament.
But anyway, that's my question about the process. Like, okay, give it over to God, but where? Right. How did that work? So somebody smarter than us.
I know. There's always like that's covered somewhere by somebody. I think there was stuff about that where like the Levites and things got things and they would keep them and that would kind of keep them going. For me, something that jumps out of me as a question is like, just what a raw deal the lambs got. It's like, so this is kind of the deal. Just to be fair, firstborn and everything is kind of concentrated to the Lord. So that's how that goes. So if you, lamb, you have a firstborn, we're going to consecrate that. And then also if there's a donkey that's born, we're going to go ahead and kill one of the lambs.
Any of them. It's fine. I also, not to be too brutal, but I want to think of it, not to be too graphic, but I want to go up behind the lamb like Rambo style. I want that to be how they would do it and be like,
yeah,
instead of probably a more humane method.
Right.
I just want it action packed.
Yeah, that's what comes to my mind every time, or like a Jean-Claude Van Damme style. Yeah. There's not another way to break a neck, I don't think. That's the only
right. They didn't have
logical.
Yeah, they just didn't have these movies.
It's really tough. That was the toughest part of living at that point, was they didn't have Jean-Claude Van Damme movies to learn from. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey. I just think that is such a tough break. It's sticking with me.
Mm-hmm.
In days to come, when your sons ask you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of both people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrificed to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb, and redeem each of my firstborn sons. I like that in verse 14, because this is very, I think parents will resonate with this. In verse 8, these people are offered kind of like a 10-word answer. I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. And then in verse 14, there's like a much longer answer.
Same thing.
It's kind of like, this is what I do all the time with my kids. It's like, why do you go to work? And I'm like, sit down. Let's talk about purpose. And let's talk about doing something good in the world. Why do you go to work? Because you eat so much. I'm leaving. Bye. I don't have time. So you do the shorter version.
Yeah.
They're both true. I have to work because you eat so much.
Yeah. You get a Cliff's Notes version.
You're a growing boy. I'm not saying don't, but I got to go to work now. And it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. That's verse 16. Verse 17, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lend them on the road. God did not lead them, on the road through the Philistine country, although it was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt.
My thought is, again, it's a little bit more functional. Couldn't God harden their hearts or something? I feel like we've...
What if we...
So they don't change their mind?
Positively.
I'm sure there's a deeper meaning or something there. I'm not trying to be too cynical, but...
That is funny.
I'm sort of a systems mindset person, noticing efficiencies.
We have the button.
Here and there.
We have the button.
God's if there's only... Here's what's going to happen. So if they don't have their hearts hardened, which I don't even know how to do anymore, so you're going to take the longest route possible to get there. Can you just open up? Can you just open up that path? Can you just harden the heart? You did it. You've done it once or twice, God.
Pharaoh's got a specific kind of heart that is very easily hardened.
Right.
So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. That's what I love about this section. Verse 18, when they left ready for battle. This reminds me of fights in the NBA, not to be too sports oriented. They're all ready for battle. Most of them no interest in war. You know what I mean? You get fouled in a way you don't like. You're like, hey, I don't like that. And you're like, you say to me?
You better hold me back.
And then you get this 7'2" guy being held back by a 6'1" point guard, and you're like, okay, but if you wanted to, the 6'1" guy's not holding you back.
No, it's very WWE.
You're allowing this to de-escalate, and good for you. By the way, I'm not out here saying people should be fighting more.
But your acting job of pretending you're ready for this war is right. We're not buying it.
It's just unlike hockey, where they're like, war? Yeah, okay. War happens.
Where they discuss it before it even happened. Hey, you want to fight? Yeah, you want to go?
Cool. Yeah, you want to go?
That's great. All right, cool. On 3? Okay.
Well, we got to wait till the puck drop.
Okay.
Thank you. You're right. You're right.
Here we go. Sorry, gentlemen's rules.
Everybody we'll go ahead and huddle. Maybe two guys will sort of find each other and be like, you want to pretend we're in this or just watch? Yeah, we'll just watch. It's fine.
Sorry for all the sports folks.
There's a lot of sports today.
That's our next podcast.
Verse 19, Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. I love this. I'm going to steal this. I think we should all leave sort of a complicated request for our loved ones in this vein. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like something that's going to take some concerted work and effort, just so you know they gotta still be working around you after you're gone.
Yeah.
You still got to adjust your plans.
Yeah, I would like to still be, like, that's the thing for me too, is I want to still be affecting people after I die.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is more of like a practical joke that kind of keeps going. But yeah, it's stuff that you still have to do. Like my last will and testament is multi-purpose. I'll give you a little insight now. I think you know this, but I had a line in there that was discovered by my wife years later that said basically like, I don't want to be cremated. I want to be put in a casket so that we can really figure out who killed me. And also chances are it was my wife. She has the most motive reason to do so. I've given her plenty and still do. Mm-hmm. So it's twofold. One, it's a very funny joke. Yeah, obviously it's really hilarious to have my wife question for my murder that was initially deemed natural causes. Yeah. But she probably did it. And then we get that joke. I think it's really fun.
I like to.
It also kind of keeps her on her toes to keep me alive.
That's what I was going to say.
Because if I die, she's the first person being pointed at.
Which typically, if police officer shows have taught me anything, is like they always start with the spouse anyway. Mm-hmm. But you've given another layer of like, you better mind all. Like if you're like on the support system even. She's going to be real hesitant to call it because she knows.
The only drawback is that, if she is wrongfully confused, my daughters grow up without a mom and a dad. That's minor. Just a little glitch. Just a little baby glitch.
Also,
but they'd probably go live with their uncles and, they have a good time.
A lot of great superhero origin story stuff. You know what I mean? That's what they start to enter into. It's like they live this really life of great purpose. Inner turmoil, of course, but, maybe they can fly or something.
Yeah. Wait, are we doing a podcast? About something else?
So Moses does go back and take the bones of Joseph with him. So he comes through on the promise there. Don't know where they were. Somebody probably does, but what is that like on your checklist of like, okay, we did the plagues. Now we got to go find where Joseph is buried.
Oh, I got it. I had him here. Okay.
Dig him up.
It's the intern's job.
After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. Verse 20. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of people.
I'm sure they were like, oh, cool. So we can like always always travel. So we can not rest at all during the day or the night. You're telling us we always have the up. We're going to keep moving the whole time. Cool. And also so everybody who's following us can see where we are with the cloud. Awesome. No, it's a good plan.
I also got a little bit of the impression of like those horse blinders where it's like, don't let them see the whole desert. Just kind of keep them focused on the step ahead. Then the Lord said, this is verse Exodus chapter 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi Hahiroth.
I know, I like that.
Hahiroth. Between Migdal and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea, directly opposite Baal Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. I do think, if you're, like you say, there's a lot of talk here about the hardening of the heart and how that will kind of lead to a thing. And you do start to wonder if Moses is like, is there a different play we could do? Is there like maybe another set?
Yeah. And
what if we try the softening of the heart just to we try that angle, just that spin on it? Because he keeps getting the same kind of error message.
Right. And it's also funny that God's like, and then I will, Pharaoh's going to see you wandering around, and then I'll harden his heart. And you're like, well, if he's spying on us anyway to see where we're going, he's probably already kind of there. I don't think it took much hardening to finish the job. Right.
And then it's what is so interesting, because we get into the practical thing here next. In verse 5, when the king of Egypt was told that that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, "What have we done? We've let the Israelites go and have lost their services."
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's why he was keeping them to begin with.
He was always like a practical issue.
Yeah.
It's very hard to build these massive things when, you have to lift all the rocks.
Or if you have to pay people to do it.
Yeah. It really, really slows down production. So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt. It's a funny denotation. I like stuff like that. He took 600. And then also all of them.
I wrote that down too.
600.
Only the best. And then also every single one of the other ones
too. But,
But just so you know, he got the 600 best. He just kind of...
Right.
You marked him first.
He had officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them.
I feel like I should add the music.
Yeah, the sound effects. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. No. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were?" Starts to get good. Verse 11. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us into the desert to die?"
It's a great ribbing amongst friends. Oh, did we not have enough bad stuff where we were that we had to come here to find bad stuff too? Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Dad. Thanks, Dad.
Sometimes you get this from people close to you, and it's too formed. You know what I mean? And you're like, you've been
sitting on this.
The second we left, somebody was like, "No, when we're mad, I got it. I got one." And this happens with your spouse, you know what I mean? Where you're in the middle of something and then they hit you with one and you're like, you didn't just think of that.
Oh, yeah.
You add that in the queue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When my wife buys too many groceries, I've already got it lined up. I'm not going to give away my secrets, but definitely jokes about, oh, cool. Let's go. You want to get the other fridge ready? Right. The third one, for us to put this, because there's no place to put this now. You do see that though, right? Okay.
This is what that feels like to me.
Also, because I'm a jerk.
Were there no
when that happens?
Were there no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us, bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. A lot of story. I mean, this is honestly this is 5% of a stand-up bit. They're rolling. They're riffing at this point. Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Powerful verse there, verse 14. You may have heard that before. Verse 15.
But also, by be still, I mean, keep traveling, because we got to keep moving. We got to
just
be still, spiritually still. But you got to keep going.
Stop yapping, but, it's not like a physical stillness. Then the Lord said to Moses, verse 15. So, again, just to recap, just so we don't lose the flow. First sign of trouble, all the people are like, "This is great. We're all going to die. You should have never left." Blah, blah, blah. Everyone's complaining. Then the Lord said to Moses, Moses goes to the people, It's like, "Don't worry. God's going to take care of all this. God's got the whatever." Verse 15. Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me?" That is not abridged. Just the first question. Why are you crying out to me for? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the waters so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground.
I think the "why are you crying out to me" is funny, because if we're taking this literally, then God's like, "What's your problem?" And you're like, well, the thing is that I'm worried about is you haven't given me any instructions on how to move forward, and so I don't see a reasonable way around this. That's why I'm crying out to you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're holding all the cards and you haven't given us any communication about what to do next. That's why I'm crying, sir.
Different take I had on that. My thought was like, again, because I loved the way we started this conversation with Moses about like, what is your actual big problem? Your actual big problem is the people group you're trying to lead are completely enslaved by a really vicious dictator. That's your big problem. And again, early on, Moses is focused on he doesn't like speak well. He has a stutter. A lot of people think that's what he was talking about. He's not strong of speech. And God's like, no, that's actually not. You'll figure that out. Where you actually need me to really be involved is like the much larger giant thing that's running the earth right now. That's in control of most of the planet. That's the one. I'm going to take care of that. And then you can just say the words, surely, right? You can do that. You can drop your staff, right? You can handle that part. And that's the vibe I get here. So he's like, okay, cool. So I got you guys out. I got a fire going, like kind of leading the way. I got a plan. I got this all figured out. I told you it's going to have one more thing with Pharaoh. I'm going to take care of him. And then Moses is like, so the people are upset. And God's like, okay, so I got to do that part. I got to do that part too. You can't manage personalities. That's above your. Okay. Yeah, no. Okay. All the chariots, literally all the chariots are coming. That's what I was focused on. I thought maybe if you were going to have like a God intervention, that would be the part. But no, you want me to like hold everybody's. Okay.
Yeah. I guess from.
Sure, Moses.
I get it. I get that take. And I respect it.
Why are you crying out to me?
But I would still stand firm in all the chariots are coming. We don't have any other information about how to move forward.
Right.
So at this point in the project, I'm at a standstill. I don't have. There's a big sea right there.
Yeah, right.
And the chariots are coming, and they're probably going to kill a lot of us because they saw us running away.
Right.
You didn't tell us what to do next. That's why you're getting this email right now, God. Because you did not give information.
So then God does in verse 16, raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground.
Would have been nice to know before.
And now the plan is a little more
opened
up. Verse 17, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the angel of the Lord, who'd been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. Israel's army is a funny term, by the way, because they were all slaves a minute ago. So I don't think they're like.
I think it's sort of like the Salvation Army. No.
It's kind of one of those deals.
Not really fighting anybody.
We sort through stuff and we help out others, which is positive. Gosh, that's funny. Where did I leave off? Oh, the angel of the Lord who had been traveling in front of Israel's army withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long.
I have to imagine this is like in Frozen 2 when you see there's the big fog cloud in between the two roads. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I got too.
If you need to pause and go watch Frozen 2 to understand that reference, go ahead and now.
So that's what's going on with them. Verse 21, then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. Imagery for this, of course, is in Moana when she goes out grabs the seashells. She's going to compile the whole story through Disney clip. The Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the wheels of the chariots so that they had difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt.
I think that they just figured that out. Like,
guys,
we thought their magicians were just classically trained. Turns out it's God.
I think there's something else going on.
It's God on their side.
It's like playing the Angels in the outfield. And you're like, I'm starting to think it's not just baseball going on here. The guy was standing on second base and caught a pop fly in deep center. Also, I have a visceral reaction to jammed wheels. Like, I understand there's a big story going on at play here, but when I read that, I was like, oh, he jammed the wheel. That's so annoying. Because now I bet you got to get down from the chariot and you're looking at it like, oh, when did I get stuck in here? You know what I mean? I got a very visceral reaction. Like,
well, it's a dad reaction.
That's what I'm saying.
Flat tire. Oh, I got to freaking take care of this. And then it's going to put us late and we're not on schedule for lunch and the kids are in the back.
That's what, exactly. Yeah. That all hit. It was like the frogs, the blood. That's all. But the jam tire, that's real. That one hurts.
And I'm the only one that's going to fix that.
And they're just going to fuss at me the whole time. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. That's it.
This is classic. This is a Bible story. This is like...
Yeah.
If you don't know any, this is like top 4.
Yeah, definitely the imagery of it, the drama of it. It's all there. Mm-hmm. Let's wrap it up. The Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. When the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant.
Not a kid's story, folks. But most of us learned it as kids.
Yeah, a lot of death. I saw a funny video about that. It was when it was like when she moves up from her children's Bible to the real Bible. It was like a story like this. I had an interesting thought while reading this, because you give them a hard time, the Israelites, in these stories because of all the fantastical stuff that they're seeing in the story, right? So like they just walked through. It's obviously so creative and imaginative to think of a wall of water and you're walking, right. You're looking, and it's like crazy. How did shortly after that you were grumbling and complaining and stuff like that? But as I was reading the story and thinking, I'm like, gosh, truly, I do that. That is the same. There is not something amazing. I was going through and thinking genuinely of the most amazing things I've seen and how quickly after I was over it. And I'm like, always, it wasn't long. It was not, we saw the Grand Canyon, or I saw the Grand Canyon for the first time with you on a tour. And you just look at it and you're like, that is, I still probably to this day, the most amazing thing I've ever seen live and in person. And after about 15 minutes of being there, I was like, you guys ready to hit the road? This is crazy cool.
Mm-hmm. You want to camp here, or if we can't get anything to drink here?
I am kind of hungry. So maybe we go
drive an hour back into town.
There's no food around here. We should go get a bite to eat. Does that resonate with you? Am I crazy in that? It's just whatever amazing. You're like, how did you see something amazing? Because the amazing things we see wear off so stinking quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have as much entertainment as we have nowadays. As far as I know, I mean, again, I wasn't there.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe they had little stuff going on all the time. But yeah, I feel like I easily forget because there's always something else popping up.
Yeah, and it's gotta have been true for forever that you're like. Mm-hmm. Whatever. We saw something. The first eclipse, you ever think about stuff like this? The first time the sun disappeared. Everybody was like, that was crazy.
Well, back to work.
Somebody's got to make dinner, so. I guess we'll just hope it doesn't happen again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. We're on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. All right, Timmy, what'd you learn today?
Okay, what I learned was, like Joseph, I need to make my family do something with my corpse after I die. Yeah, for sure. And maybe a scavenger hunt, maybe maybe pieces, maybe it's a little treasure thing, but something to I don't need to
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't learn how to do it or what I need to do, but I learned that I need to do it.
Yeah. So. I like that it involves revisiting you later. I think there's something there, right? Mm-hmm. I want to be buried in a time capsule manner. Bury me holding something valuable, and I cannot be unearthed until 2075 or something
or until you
off in the
find
distance.
All the pieces.
Yeah. Some kind of national treasure puzzle situation.
Of course.
That involves my casket in the ground.
Yeah.
That you have to revisit.
And I want it to be kind of gross.
Yeah. I like that. I also think I like the practical tool of the remembering by writing on your forehead. Like if you, this just happened to me the other day. I was on the phone, classic stinking husband story. And Rach tells me, can you write this down on the fridge? You got it. Hung up the phone, never did it. So it's like, you gotta, if you're trying to remember something, write it on your forehead. That's great. Because you're going to be held accountable. And then there's the great joy of like, hey, why do you have creamer written on your head? Oh, I already got it. Thanks. Then you will be respected
for the rest of the day.
Tim, everyone will respect you because they're like, oh, cool. You're so on top of things. Mm-hmm. I don't even mind you have creamer written across your forehead now because you already took care of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just gotta hope the list isn't very long.
That is Exodus 13 through 14. We did it.
I did it.
We really did it. I hope you've been having a great Aviv, everyone.
It's timely and appropriate.
Right? March and April?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got a birthday coming up in the time of Aviv.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
It's coming up quick.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for hanging out for this deep dive into the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Swimming down deep and wide.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to come back here. We're going to do it very soon. I like to kind of, I know we're kind of unpredictable. People don't know what's coming next. But I will let you know, probably next time we're going to do Exodus 15 and 16, if you want to read ahead. And maybe go get like good, rich commentary on it. So then you can like enjoy.
Who wants that?
Maybe answer some of our questions we typically have during the podcast.
Yeah.
Be helpful. Anyway, love you. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
The Bible is for